So I'm on the Criterion channel, and I've been enjoying these New York love stories. Been watching quite a few. Well, I've only watched a couple right now, but I'm planning to watch a few more. With a lot of these features on the Criterion channel, you know, they have these teaser trailers that they usually do, which is really great. Kind of gives you an overview of what's there. I'll just go down through all these movies and let you know which ones I've seen, which ones I'm planning to see. Carol, I haven't seen the Todd Haynes movie. I haven't seen that one. Down with Love, have not seen. Arthur, I just watched, and I really enjoyed it. I really haven't seen it probably since it came out in the theater. Maybe I saw it once on VHS, but it's been a long time. This movie from 1981 with Dudley Moore, Liza Minnelli, John Gielgud, who gives an amazing performance. They really all give an amazing performances in the movie. But I really enjoyed it. It's got a great soundtrack. It's very funny, but also very sad as well. But you know, having not seen it in a while, I really enjoyed it and would love to get it on physical media. I don't think, I think there's a DVD of it that's rather inexpensive. There might be a Blu-ray set with Arthur 1 or Arthur 2, but really good one. Raising Victor Vargas, I haven't seen. Moonstruck I've seen but haven't watched it recently. Annie Hall I've seen but haven't watched it recently. The Goodbye Girl, one of my favorite movies from the 70s, directed by Herbert Ross from 1977, starring Richard Dreyfuss, Marsha Mason, Quinn Cummings. I've seen it so many times. One of my favorites. I'm sure that I'm going to watch it on the channel. Of course, I have the Blu-ray for this too. Last night, Josie and I watched It's My Turn, the Claudia Weil film. Claudia Weil did another film called Girlfriends as well. This movie's from 1980 with Jill Clayburgh, my favorite, Jill Clayburgh, and also Michael Douglas and Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin has a great part in this too, but it's a really great story about lots of different things, relationships and family. Really like that one. Falling in Love, I haven't seen in a while, but I might watch this one. Something Wild, I'd love to see, the Jonathan Demme film from 1986. Crossing Delancey is getting a Criterion physical media release, and so there's also another feature on the channel directed by Joan Micklin Silver, so I'm looking forward to checking that out as well, but this one's on my list. Frankie and Johnny is a great one, directed by Gary Marshall, starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. So I think probably the next few that are up, maybe Something Wild, Crossing Delancey, I would like to see again, Frankie and Johnny. Losing Ground I have not seen, and Autumn's Tale I haven't seen. I like it like that. It Could Happen to You, Kissing Jessica Stein, haven't seen those. But so this is a great little feature on the Criterion channel where they combine a lot of these movies, and I'm just really enjoying it. Let me know if you have the Criterion channel, if you have a favorite feature, but I'm really loving this one lately.
You know that thing where vloggers show themselves walking, so they point the camera down at their feet and they show themselves walking? I think we need more of that in our vlogs.
We can do that.
Do you think so? But that would mean we'd have to go somewhere. We have to go more places, right?
Yeah, we do it sometimes. I think,
so if
like when we were at the grocery store that one time, we did that.
in one of the vlogs we did that. I was just going to say too, we just watched the preview for Fantastic Four, that new Fantastic Four movie, and I really liked it. What did you think of it?
I'm interested.
Pedro Pascal's in it, right?
Yeah.
And he looks really good. He looks like he really fits the part, which I thought was interesting. Not that he wouldn't. I mean, that's why they cast him in the part, right? But
well, this one has like a throwback vibe to it.
It does, yeah.
So like I would imagine like the original, when Fantastic Four originally appeared, probably.
True, yeah.
I've seen the other ones, but they're usually a more modern take, so I think those will be interesting. It has kind of like that like retro future vibe that you kind of get with Batman sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty short trailer, but I really liked it. You know, I was thinking when I was watching the trailer too that movie and the Superman movie might get us back to the movie theater over the summer. It seems like they're preparing for some interesting, films over the summer, which usually makes me want to go to the theater again.
I think, are they both coming out in July?
One of them's coming out in July. Yeah, maybe they're both coming out in July. I don't know, but certainly Fantastic Four is. So, yeah. And I haven't really been interested in too many Marvel things lately, but this one looks really good to me.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk lately. A lot of people have been talking about things they, having something in the future that they want to look forward to. And I feel like that's kind of happening also with the
with movies.
Going to the movie theater. They're kind of building this like summer schedule where maybe you don't want to see every single movie, but there's at least a couple in the future where you're like, oh, I want to see that, and then that kind of pushes you to watch things until then.
Yeah, I think this is the first year that I've been actually thinking about, not even, because last year we didn't go to the theater, and I think the year before we only went a couple times.
Yeah.
And this is maybe the first year that I'm thinking, wow, maybe it would be a fun event to go see Superman or go see Fantastic Four, So anyway, it's only, we're deep in the winter right now, but
yeah,
it's nice to think about maybe seeing a summer movie this year.
Yeah, I also think that they're kind of pivoting their strategy in terms of trailers. It's harder to watch trailers. It's harder to be like neutrally shown things because we're all streaming.
Yeah.
So I think that Superman and Fantastic Four are finding ways like on Instagram and on TikTok and things, like trying to get the content to people so that they're aware of it. Because I think for a couple of years it was really hit or miss if you knew a movie was coming. Like even
That's
The
true.
Wild Robot, people were like, oh, what is this? I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah. So, well, it's something to think about. Let us know if you're excited about any of the summer movies coming out or any of the trailers that you've been seeing. We only watch, we watch a few trailers. Usually in the morning, we're watching YouTube channels that we like. And so sometimes we catch a trailer, and that was one of the ones we saw today. So one of the movies I'm looking forward to picking up from the Criterion Collection is this movie called Crossing Delancey, directed by Joan Micklin Silver. And I was watching it last night on the Criterion's got a feature called, I have to go back to it here to find it. They have a New York Love Stories feature, which I've been working my way through, which I talked about earlier in the vlog. But I really like Crossing Delancey. It's a wonderfully, I'm just reading the description from the website, a wonderfully affectionate spin on the romantic comedy infuses the genre with a fresh personal perspective following an unmarried Jewish woman's search for fulfillment in New York City. Amy Irving plays a bookstore manager, and she really isn't looking for love, but she's forced to reevaluate her desires when she catches the eye of two very different men, a self-centered novelist, and the mild-mannered Lower East Side pickle seller, played by Peter Reigert, which I thought was really good. And in fact, in the movie, and I'm in the office, by the way, if you couldn't tell, and Jesse's here.
Yeah.
Jesse was, I think you were reading mostly or doing something else while I was watching the movie, but...
I was half watching because I was playing Stardew Valley.
Right. Yeah, but if you notice, I was half watching the movie kind of because I would only watch usually when Peter Reigert was on the scene, because I thought he really is the important love interest in the movie.
Yeah.
Which it turned out, I mean, I don't want to spoil the movie or anything like that, but I really enjoyed this one, and it's one of the ones I would like to get on physical media, and that's what's great, again, about having the Criterion channel is you can watch these movies, and then you can potentially pick them up on physical media. And I was just looking at the extra features, too, this morning. New program on the making of the film featuring actors Amy Irving and Peter Reigert and screenwriter Susan Sandler. An audio interview from 1988 with director Joan Micklin Silver, and a trailer. There's also an essay there too. So this is Spy number 1250, and I'm looking forward to picking that one up. So
when is it's coming? Oh, coming out.
I think it's
in a couple of weeks.
April. Oh, I thought it was later. So
February
I guess it's
18th.
February 18th. So that's at the top of my list, along with Winchester 73, I think, which I've talked about before a little bit.
It also has a great cover. The cover is like a really nice scene.
Yeah.
In the film.
That's almost like a hand painted.
Yeah.
Thing. Because at one point, Peter Reigert gives her, it's her birthday, and he sends her a cake and a hat, and so she's wearing this hat, right?
Yeah, well, that's like where the film gets its name, right? The whole story about crossing Delancey.
Yeah. But anyway, a really good one. I don't think I've seen the movie since the late 1980s when it came out, so it was nice to see it again, and I'm really enjoying that feature on the Criterion channel.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, I had never seen this film before.
Yeah.
I do
film.
like the juxtaposition of the two men. I don't think that the pickle salesman would have been as interesting if we didn't have someone else, which is kind of like the idea that she has in her life, is that I feel like she kind of wants to settle down, but she's not sure what she wants, and so she wants to see what's available, what's out there, what kind of life does she want to live, and these two men are very different. And so, and her mother, her grandmother, is a great character also.
Oh, her grandma, yeah, the grandmother's a great character. Yeah, she's very, very creative, very entertaining to watch. But I just found it funny that I already knew who she should go with from the beginning of the movie, and I was like, I will only watch if
you're like, I don't care who she ends up with. I've
already picked somebody for her. So
right. It reminded me a little bit of like Sex and the City because
oh yeah, true.
You know, if you've watched Sex and the City, you kind of pick like the love interest that's your favorite for Carrie, the main character. So it was kind of like choosing, you know, it's like do you like Mr. Big or do you like the Russian dancer or something, and you're trying to pick like, oh, I only want to see the episodes where she's with this guy, right?
Yeah, I mean I thought it was really good. So I mean, I don't know what I'm watching tonight. I have a couple more on my list, but I'm probably going to work my way through that particular feature.
The feature has a lot of films.
Yeah, I mean, I love a good love story. Let me know in the comments too if you have a great romantic comedy that you like or a great love story movie. It doesn't have to be love story. That's a love story. Also, but
I mean, I'm looking at the feature right now. I think there's probably like 3 or 4.
There's 3 or 4 more I'm going to watch.
More you'd probably
I'm sure
watch.
I'm going to watch. Yeah.
And they're interesting because they're all in New York, but they're all different people in New York. They're not the same story over and over again.
Yeah, although the last 2 that we watched, I mean, with Jill Clayburgh, with which we didn't really talk about, It's My Turn, but that's also a really good one. That's again kind of a slow burn movie where there's a woman trying to decide between a couple of guys, and
but
you're always kind of pulling for.
Yeah, in It's My Turn though, you see her spending the majority of her time with one guy.
Yeah, right.
And she kind of like bookends it with the other guy. And so you kind of really, I mean, I don't know, It's My Turn. I was really kind of torn between the two of them.
Yeah. Well, even though I like, Michael Douglas, I think is the easy
obviously,
choice. Michael Douglas
obviously he was the choice, but I kind of, I don't know, it's one of those where like when she was with the first guy.
See, I don't even remember the first guy because I thought Michael Douglas is the one.
Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin. Yeah, forget about Charles. I mean, Charles Grodin's a great actor, but
I mean, in the beginning, I was like, oh, he's nice, and then you see Michael Douglas, you're like, oh, Michael Douglas. The thing is, the right choice.
Charles Grodin also had some great scenes. He had some great monologues. He had some great, the writing is amazing in the movie. We're talking about It's My Turn, which is on the Criterion channel. But Michael Douglas is the one. That's the one. That's the one you got to go with. I mean, he's always doing the look back. He's doing that kind of thing. We should talk about the look back in a movie when there's 2 characters and one character's walking away and then they look back at the other character. We call it the look back. I think that's that's something people say.
Yeah, it's even if they're kind of arguing or like they're leaving on a sour note or something, and there's like a
they do the look back, then they know
if they look back at each other before they leave, you know that like there's still something there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and there was that one scene at the airport where Michael Douglas is leaving, and you're not really sure what's happening. Hope we're not spoiling this movie. And Jill Clayburgh's there, and he kind of looks back at her from the ticket counter, and that was sort of an extended look back. I feel like. Yeah. So, while we're in the office too, we were this morning we were watching the trailer for the new Jurassic Park movie, so we thought we'd talk about that a little bit.
Well, first it's called Jurassic World. Rebirth.
Maybe? Yeah. It does. They probably should have called it Retread because it's kind of a. Don't they go back to the? It seemed like they went back to like the original island or something like that because there's a lot of old set.
So the premise is that like they need like samples from like the biggest dinosaurs because it's going to be useful for scientific research of some kind.
Yeah.
And so they have to go back to the original Jurassic Park island where they say the biggest, baddest, worst dinosaurs were left there because in the whole Jurassic World thing, not to spoil too much, but I think you kind of already get the concept, like the dinosaurs and the humans like end up living together somehow. And so now they have to go back to Jurassic Park to get these samples.
Does this rebirth mean like they're going to start the movies over again? I mean, that's the other thing that
I don't know.
Like
I think
rebirth is like
it feels like one of those,
they could have said reboot or retread or something.
It feels like one of those like sequel reboots. Like sort of like Alien Romulus, where like it connects to the original films but starts a new storyline at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were both saying when we were watching the trailer too that we might be going to the movies a lot more this summer because there's a lot there seems like there's a lot of movies we would like to see. The
There are
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, there are 3 movies
Superman.
in July.
In July.
Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So, which is kind of interesting that because I don't think this has ever happened where have been looking forward to movies coming out in the summertime,
Right.
a summer blockbuster movie.
I think typically for us, there's usually maybe 2 films that we want to see in the theater. Like thinking of like the whole time that we've gone to the theater together.
Yeah.
Like we went to see like Jurassic Park in 3D. We went to see Jaws in the summer one time. Like we went to see like This Is 40. We saw Wild. Like, but the fact that I can count them on my hands means that there's not usually a ton of films that we want to see in the theater.
Yeah, you're right. But I guess I'm looking forward to it. I mean, anything that would get me interested in going back to the theater would be good. Now, whether we do that or not is another question. But we'll see. Maybe. The other thing too is, and I was thinking about this when I was watching Alien Romulus, is the CGI, the special effects lately haven't really been bothering me that much, right? So even though we saw in Jurassic Reboot, in the Jurassic Reboot movie, I'm just going to call it that, Rebirth, or Jurassic World Rebirth, right? It didn't really bother me that much. Yeah. Because I kind of know there's going to be a lot of dinosaurs. There was that one scene when they're on the boat too that reminded me of Godzilla -1. It seemed like they took like a scene. It looked almost exactly like a scene from Godzilla -1.
Yeah,
and the same type of special effect. A little bit of Jaws. Yeah.
It looked cool.
But so we'll see. Yeah. We always start these office segments and say we're not going to spend a lot of time, and then 10 minutes goes by and we.
Yeah.
But.
Well, they've already watched all the footage, so they'll know that I did it. But I was thinking as we were doing this that I'm going to put movie posters in parts of the
that'd be good,
the office part.
Oh, that'd be good, yeah.
So you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
because
that's
we're
a good
just
idea.
talking for a while.
That's a good idea. So maybe Crossing Delancey might make an appearance because it's a really nice cover, right?
Yeah. So then when we transitioned into into the other one, they'll know that we're talking about another film. Yeah.
We should say it's snowing here today, very cold. We're ready for the spring already. We're ready for a little bit of warmer weather so we can walk more, so we can have more outside, segments. We've really been trying this. We realized too, the vlog, we've been showing a lot of weather, segments. So if you like those, let us know in the comments below. Let us know if you're looking forward to a movie coming out too in the comments. And, let us know anything in the comments if you want.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Ask a question. Yeah. Sometimes also, I was going to say too, because there's been a couple of questions on these vlogs that people ask a question and then I'll try to answer it the next week too. So if you have a question that you want to ask, I'll be happy to see if I can answer it in the next vlog. If there's but I've answered a couple of them, I think. Well, for people that are watching the vlogs regularly, it's kind of a good,
sometimes if you ask a question, you'll get the answer. Plus, you might get some little inside information, and then we might answer it in the vlog also.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll try to, if you have a question, we'll see what we can do to answer it. But I hope everyone's having a great week. We are having a great week. We're trying, again, not to include as many maybe footage of the snow that's out there because it's constant lately.
I guess as the editor of the vlogs, I feel like the last couple of weeks I was like, these feel like kind of the same thing. Like snow, we watched the thing. Snow, we watched the thing. We're like, we didn't even put our face in the vlog. So,
but we've been watching a lot. I've been watching a lot more movies lately, earlier in the day, which is good.
Yeah. So we're just trying to change it up.
Yep. That's our office segment for today.
Okay, this week's question is a 2-part question.
Two-parter, okay.
How do you feel about the Oscar nominations, and will you make an effort to watch any of the films before the Oscars?
How do I feel about the Oscar nominations? Interesting question. That's an interesting question that you asked me. That is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
I guess I'm okay with the Oscar nominations. I mean, it's good to see Conclave is on there. The Wild Robot is in there. Those are the 2 movies I liked a lot from last year. I know a lot of people like Anora, but I haven't seen that yet.
I think Dune 2 is in there.
Dune 2 is in there, which
Gladiator
we really like.
2.
Gladiator. Oh, was Gladiator 2 in there? I guess I didn't see that.
I don't think it's Best Picture, but I think it's
like
nominated for something.
As an award. So I guess I'm definitely aware. I feel like I watched more movies last year that were nominated. I'm surprised again that I saw Conclave and some of the other ones, but I really hope the Wild Robot wins because we love the Wild Robot.
Yeah.
Was that did I answer the question?
Yeah, and then will you make an effort to watch any other nominated films before the Oscars?
I'm not really sure about that, but we were looking at, AMC's got a thing where you can go for, I think, $5 a film, and you can see all the Oscar-nominated movies in one day, I guess. There was like 24 hours of Oscar-nominated films. I don't know if
boy.
but I don't know if we would go for 24 hours because we don't usually leave the house. But I might. I just think for a lot of the films, I'm probably going to wait. I don't feel like I'm going to see any more. I'd like to see The Brutalist, but I think I'll probably wait for that to come to streaming.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. It seems like it's good, but maybe a little depressing. So I don't know.
Do you think that there will be any like Fandango deals to watch an Oscar-nominated
there
film,
might
like
be
a rental?
Yeah, there might be. I feel like Fandango does have a thing where you can buy all of the Oscar-nominated, or you can get as many as you want. So maybe we'll do that. I don't know. What do you think? Should we do that?
I mean, maybe if they have like a $5 rental deal or something.
Yeah, but is there one? I guess I'll ask you a question now. Is there one that you would want to see before the Oscars? I mean, we don't usually watch the Oscars. We don't watch any award shows anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like thinking about what's nominated, I don't think that there's nothing like I have to see.
Yeah.
But I would. I don't know if something, is somewhat affordable to rent to watch before. Maybe it'd be worth it.
There's a video we have on the channel already too, where our favorite first watches of 2024, and there are a few films in that I watched last year that were from 2024, and one of them is Ghostlight, which I think is really good, but it wasn't nominated. So a lot of the films I saw, like Christmas Eve and Miller's Point, is on the list, but it was also not nominated for anything.
Yeah.
So a lot of the films that I like or that we tend to watch maybe don't get nominated for anything. So
right,
which is kind of unfortunate, but. So that's my take. Hopefully I answered that question.
I think you did.
One of the movies we didn't talk about yet is we saw A Real Pain on Hulu, the movie with Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin, right?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that one?
I thought it was really good.
I thought it was good too. I mean, it's kind of it's funny, but it's not. I think it was advertised as being more funny than it is. It's more of a drama, I feel like. But that's one of the other ones. We were talking about Oscars. I feel like, I'm not sure if that's up for an Oscar, but I really like the script. I thought the script was really good. The writing's really good. The characterization is good.
I think it is up for something.
Is it up for something? Yeah, I don't know. But
it was in the Oscar part of the Fandango highlight.
Oh, okay.
So,
I mean, it's really good. I mean, Jesse Eisenberg directed it, right? And I thought he wrote it.
I think so.
I thought he wrote it also.
Yeah,
and
I definitely feel like the trailer made it look funny. Like it used all the funny pieces from the film, whereas the film overall isn't that funny.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's some really dramatic parts in it too, but it reminded us of Il Sorpasso, right? The road picture, which I'm not sure the year, but there's a Criterion release of Il Sorpasso. It kind of reminded us of that because it's very much a travel, a journey type movie, and the characters are much different, but also similar in certain ways. And
yeah, because like in Il Sorpasso and this film, there's one character that's a little more apprehensive about trying things, and there's the other character that kind of just jumps in with both feet and doesn't really think about it before he does things. So that kind of dynamic between the two of them was interesting.
Yeah, and I think we noticed about the film too that the Kieran Culkin character, every time he tries something kind of risky, everything works out. And there's one part in the film where Jesse Eisenberg tries a simple thing that seems like a risk for him. We even noticed in the movie. Yeah. And there's some consequences to it. So that also seemed very interesting. I think as the viewer, you're trying to identify with one of the characters, perhaps. I think for me, and maybe this is true for you too, I identified more with the Jesse Eisenberg character being a little bit less risky, more concerned about doing the right thing and everything like that. And so when Kieran Culkin does something in the movie, you feel a little uncomfortable about it. At least I did anyway. Yeah. But it's really well written. It makes you think. It's about family relationships, and just a very good film. I hope it wins some awards.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was a good time, but it was a good film.
It was an interesting watch for both of us. Yeah.
Last night on the Criterion Channel, I was watching this great movie in the New York Love Stories feature called Frankie and Johnny, which I have a DVD of. This one needs a Blu-ray release as well, but it stars Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, and this is based on a, see if it says it back here. It's directed by Gary Marshall, who did Pretty Woman, but it's based on a Terrence McNally play. Yeah, there's Terrence McNally's name is down here, but it's based on his play, and he did the screenplay for it. It's based on the play Frankie and Johnny and the Clair de Lune. Really well done, really underrated movie. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this movie, but I really liked it a lot. I haven't seen it in many years, and it was great to see it featured on the Criterion Channel, and I would love this to have a Blu-ray. You know, maybe it does have a Blu-ray too. I looked around a little bit for it, but it doesn't seem like it does. Hector Elizondo's in it also. Lots of other great performances. Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino meet at a diner, and they have kind of this romance, and it's I forgot Nathan Lane is in it as well, and he's really good. Pacino is an outgoing ex-con who's hired as the new short order cook for this restaurant that Michelle Pfeiffer is working at, and he's head over heels crazy for Frankie, but to Frankie they're as different as scrambled and hard-boiled eggs. What can he mean when he says we were a couple before we met? Anyway, it's a beautiful love story and a really great watch on the Criterion Channel, but you can pick up the DVD. I think the DVD is still available too, so. I was watching a movie last night on the Criterion Channel because I'm really enjoying the New York Love Stories feature on there this month, and it was a movie called Falling in Love with Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep. And it's such a brilliant movie. I hadn't seen it in years, and I really enjoyed it. Just the subtlety of the two of them falling in love in this movie is just amazing. There's also some great, what I feel like are almost choreographed scenes of them finding each other in a bookstore, and sort of, you know, as a viewer, you're wondering, you know, they're going to get together at some point in the movie. Because of the description, but just seeing the pieces come together and how they meet and how then they start looking for each other too in crowded scenes in New York City, I think is amazing. And, you know, the scenes are just so well done and so choreographed. And so that gets me looking at the director, which the director's name is Ulu Grosbard. And I realized that the director had done this movie, one of my favorite movies from the 70s called Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman. And this is a Warner Archive release, one of my favorite movies from the 70s, a really brilliantly done movie with Dustin Hoffman. And so this really gets me into the director and makes me realize, wow, I have a lot of these films, or I have at least a few of them from the director that I really admire, really like. I also realized I had purchased this movie. The subject was Roses with Patricia Neal, and this also has a young Martin Sheen in it, so I'll probably watch this again just because I liked Falling in Love so much. Ulu Grosbard, too, I was reading the history of him, also worked in the theater. So these films are definitely very, very theatrical, very dramatic. I can understand why Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep would want to work with him. So he also did a movie called True Confessions, which I saw in the theater, I'm sure, when it came out. And this is how I tend to get fascinated with a specific director and just want to go back and revisit all of their work. And I just love that movie, Falling in Love. So I just ordered a copy. Can only get it on DVD. It could really use a Blu-ray release. But it's really great. Really enjoyed it. Let me know if you've watched any of those films. You have the Criterion Channel. If you've seen any of the films by Ulu Grosbard. Really enjoyed that. And so I thought I'd share that as well.